Hi everybody, and a very warm welcome to you. Thank you for those of you who have been sitting patiently waiting to know what on earth is going on with the scheduling. There seems to be a glitch in the YouTube studio, which is not making it very easy for me to give you an exact time of when I'm going live. Because I'd love to be able to do that, but it seems that there are some technical issues. And Lucy, my wonderful, wonderful new assistant, she's moderating here on the chat with you all. She's been terrific, keeping everybody warm and happy. And thank you for getting lots of likes in advance. Lucy, thank you. And I just want to start this live by actually talking about Mother Earth, because somebody said it's really, let's have at some point take a breath and let's thank Mother Earth. And I think I'd like to do that right here, right now. Because so much is happening. Nature is speaking to us, is talking to us, is asking us to listen. And if we will listen to Mother Nature, then I think we're going to get a lot of the answers that we're looking for, especially as we're coming into this whole Cancerian time now. We've got, where's my little list of the aspects? It's gone and disappeared on me. I had everything nicely prepared, but Mercury is about to go retrograde. Thank you very much, Lauren. Thank you. Thank you from Teddy's as well, because with all this Cancerian energy, Cancer has to feel safe, has to feel secure. And we're at a time now where things don't feel so safe. We've never had so much uncertainty as we have in our world these days. Everything is up in the air. You can't make plans as you used to make them. People who used to have a seminar schedule years out in advance or months out, all that's had to get cancelled because there's so much uncertainty. So whatever it is with this, because Cancer, with all these Cancer, with the eclipse, with Mercury retrograding Cancer, with the Sun in a few days going into Cancer, you kind of need all the bears and teddies you can get. You really do. You need to do whatever you can do that soothes you, that brings, because Cancer rules the breasts, it rules the stomach, it rules the digestion. And if it feels safe, it can relax and digest well. But if it doesn't feel safe, then it's very agitated, and that's when everything gets disrupted and you feel alone and you feel isolated. Yeah, you've got to hide in those shells. I know I'm Cancer rising. So what makes me feel secure, I know it sounds pathetic, but is having a lot of bottles of water, having spare water, or having a few spare things in stock, just in case. So we're looking with all this Cancer energy at everything to do with home, to do with family, to do with security, to do with stability, and to do with nurturing. And we come into this world needing to be nurtured. Yes, you're very defenseless when you arrive on the planet, and hopefully you've got parents and a mother who nurtures you and possibly breastfeeds you. And you get strong from that. Yes, you're nurtured, but not everybody got that. In fact, I think most of us didn't get the nurturing that we wanted. And here we are now with this conglomeration of an eclipse in Cancer, an eclipse in Capricorn coming up on the 5th of July. So these are two really big eclipses, plus all the Cancerian planets, plus on the 18th, Mercury going retrograde in Cancer. So let me sort of try to break this down a little. We're dealing with a lot of water energy. And water energy is emotional. Lots of emotions bubbling. And you might find your moods going up and down. You might find yourself being quite changeable. One minute this, another minute that. Cancer, the way I see the glyph of Cancer, it's like the breasts, it's like the mother holding the children to her. And Mother Earth wants to nurture us, wants to do whatever she can to nurture us. And we've got to somehow start listening to what is being said. And this dear little coronavirus may in fact be something that is a gift to us, a gift in disguise that we don't see yet. Oh, I'm so sorry, dear Mama Moon. You lost your sweet dog yesterday and a close childhood friend. I can't begin to imagine how much sadness and grief you're experiencing. And with all this Cancer energy and with this build-up of new frequencies on our planet, we've got to raise our frequency. For those of you that saw my recent video with having an impromptu conversation with wonderful astrologer friend Pam Gregory, we've got to raise our frequency. And raising our frequency means that we're going to feel one another's pains. It's not going to be like, oh, you hear about somebody having something going on in their lives and you don't feel it. Yeah, you kind of sort of move on. No, we're in this together, so we're going to feel sometimes the very deep pain and suffering of the world. You might feel it physically, you might feel it emotionally. For sure, the emotions are the challenge during this time. And when you don't feel secure, that's when the emotions go haywire. Yeah, you might feel frightened, you might feel angry, you might feel lost. So what can you do now? You're painting your plants right now. Lovely. Earth-based colours. That's beautiful. So it's important to find ways that you nurture yourself. So for me, for example, how do I nurture myself? Well, when I'm in the countryside, which I am for another day or so, what's nurturing for me is to go round with a bag of food and feed all the stray animals, right? And there's cats and there's dogs and they come running, and it's so nurturing and uplifting just to see them coming running and see them eating and filling their tummies, and that is just a joy, and it's nourishing to my soul. What's nourishing for you? What's nurturing for you? Painting is nourishing for me. Playing my piano is nourishing. It's a soul nourishment. Doing a reading with someone where we're on a real wavelength and some magical things come out, or a channeling where magical things come through. What nourishes you? Think about that, because this is going to be important. The more you can self-nourish, I think that might be a new term, the easier it's going to be to navigate these choppy waters So if you can begin to feel, oh, I'm feeling a bit insecure and, yeah, you're feeling a little seasick sort of thing. Right, what can I do? What do I need? So, you know, I might have to grab the dog if I haven't got a real one around. Thank you very, very much, Mananuna, thank you. So build up a list of things that you've got that you can do, so that when the emotion hits, because often it can hit in a wave, it's like, ooh, you've got something that you can do that doesn't rely on someone else, because Cancer can sometimes be a needy sign. There's a bit of neediness there. So watering and singing to your plants, thank you, Effie. That's beautiful. Going cycling in the forest, that's beautiful, Rose. Yeah. So loving your cousins, beautiful. Whatever it is, and it's great. Let's inspire one another here. Cecilia loves to bake and to share. You give, oh, lovely, you go to the forest and give fresh produce to the bunnies and the wildlife so you don't waste it. Beautiful. So these are uplifting things. And the more that we can train ourselves to self-nourish and not depend on someone else to do it, since we're having to self-isolate and all these kinds of things, the stronger you get, the easier it gets. And you're also more able to help somebody else who might be in need. Give them a bit of a leg up. So, the Mercury retrograde in Cancer, let's look at that. So Mercury retrograde on the 18th of June, forgotten the date it comes out of retrograde, I'm sure Lucy might be able to find it, the exact date, but Mercury retrograde stays in a sign for about 3 weeks. And this time it's in Cancer. So now when Mercury goes retrograde, it's about rethinking, in Cancer, your emotional needs. What do you need emotionally to keep you in balance during these turbulent times? And what are you doing that is pulling you off balance? Yeah, I mean, for me, if I watch too much news, I don't allow myself. I do in the morning, I look at the news, and usually in the evening, I look at the news. Not much more than that. I try not to. It's important to be informed, but if I begin to watch any kind of videos that are very depressing or all around conspiracy, then I find my energy depleting. So if you feel your energy depleting, it's probably a jolly good sign that you need to do something nurturing for you to build that up again, to build that solar plexus. I feel that the solar plexus is certainly the area, and this diaphragm where you're breathing so that your breath can come into a more peaceful place. Prashant loves to draw and walk bare feet with your dogs and spend time with your elderly parents. That's lovely. I mean, I love spending time every day on the phone with my dear auntie, my 98-year-old auntie. It's always a joy. Doesn't matter what's been going on. She's always got something that is uplifting to share. Quite amazing. Yesterday I spoke with her. She said, oh, I've been to Greece. I said, have you? She said, I've been to 3 islands. She said, I watched the most lovely programme. And she was telling about all these different islands and the pottery and the colours. And so she's found a way to be uplifted, even though it's been very difficult to be in lockdown, in complete isolation for 3 months. So it's about rethinking now, how can I be gentle with myself? How can I make myself feel at home? How can I create family? Because I think lots of us, many of us are feeling as though we'd like more family. Yeah, I want to feel as though we're more connected. And this is why I love the community that we've got here. And I'm so grateful for Lucy for, thank you, she's posted that Mercury Retrograde, the dates here on the, she's marvellous. Aren't I lucky to have Lucy, yeah? She's helping me so much, helping us in this. So we're building community here. You're not alone. There's a family that we've got here together that I feel is of like mind, of like spirit, who wants to use the astrology, the power of the astrology, in a way that is uplifting and constructive, so that we don't repeat the mistakes of history, or at least we make an attempt not to do so. So just looking back to the last time that we had eclipses in Cancer and Capricorn at this time was June the 21st of 2001. We had an eclipse in Cancer, and July the 5th of 2001 we had an eclipse in Capricorn. Now, of course, 9/11 happened not very long after those two eclipses, and 9/11 changed the world. 9/11 changed how we go on aeroplanes, what we could do, terrorism, fear, security, all of those things. And here we are again, 19 years later, with eclipses in the same signs coming up. And particularly important is the 5th of July eclipse, which I certainly will be covering as we get closer to it, which is at 13 degrees of Capricorn, which is exactly opposite the natal sun of the United States, born on the 4th of July 1776. So this is a really big time for the United States. And of course, the US is going to have its Pluto return in 2022, which is transformational. And the more things that happen in the US, the more that has to pan out to the rest of the world. And we're all connected. This is what dear little Corona is showing us. We're all connected. So what happens in this world with those eclipses? Well, this is what I wanted to talk to you about. So on the one hand, we've got the Cancer energy, which is about home, family, security, stability, community, love, gentleness, nurturing, Mother Earth, the mother, the matriarch, the divine feminine, the gentle energy. It's strong, yeah? But it's this deep appreciation of Mother Earth. And honouring our emotions, honouring your emotions, not suppressing them. I think very often in the New Age type communities, you know, you're not supposed to feel anger. You're not, grief is kind of okay, but anger, no, you're supposed to somehow be above that or not experience it. But I don't think that that's a real place to be. I think anger is a real emotion and a necessary emotion. I was listening recently to the wonderful Tara Brach, B-R-A-C-H. She's a wonderful yogi and does a lot of things around meditation. And she's been talking about anger. It's intelligent. Yes, it's showing you that a very important survival need is not being met. Something is not being met. And that you need to act, you need to take action. It's just that sometimes when we take action in anger, and I know it for myself, I'm lashing out, I want to hurt somebody, I want to hurt that which seems to be depriving me of my need. It gives me a temporary break from it because I feel I'm empowered again. I'm not a victim. But it often alienates the people that I really need to talk to be able to resolve the situation. And we're seeing this anger. And issues of anger are going to come up with Mars in Aries by the 28th of this month. And as I've said many times, Aries is going to be figured for 26 weeks along with a retrograde. So I think it's going to be an opportunity to find ways of, yes, expressing anger in healthy ways, but not allowing it to take over so that it becomes addictive. Because once you're angry, you know, you can be angry at this and angry at that and angry at the other, but it's not resolving something inside of you. So then there needs to be an investigation, recognizing, allowing, and investigating is what Tara talks about. And I mean, it happened to me the other night, I have to say. The story with the dogs. You know, my unmet need is I'm not getting sleep, or I haven't been getting a lot of sleep. And now the one dog is a bit calmer, this Gina that I've told you about. But now another neighbour has gone and bought 2 puppies. And these poor puppies have been crying incessantly all night. Now, I don't know about you, I mean, it's unbearable to have that kind of emotional crying from an animal. And, you know, at 2:30 in the morning, I put my hat on and my coat on, and I got a very big stick, and I had a very tiny torch, and I stomped outside. I thought, I've got to do something for these dogs. You know, if I have to adopt them, I'll adopt them. I just didn't know. And I went outside and I went onto the beach, and these 2 dear little puppies, dearest little sweet things, came looking at me, lolloping over. And of course, in an instant, my anger about the situation had gone. I couldn't be angry with them, but I was angry with the owner for leaving them outside, for not taking them in. And again, not to use the anger at 2:30 in the morning, but just seeing them, diffused it, and then finding a different solution afterwards once I've had a chance to investigate and see what the options are. So, how do you deal with anger? Do you allow yourself to express anger? Is it all right with you to be angry? Are you aware if you're angry? And how can you express it in a way that is constructive and doesn't cause you more suffering? So I think those are going to be issues to really be thinking about. So the Capricorn energy is very much about control. Pluto and Jupiter in Capricorn together at the moment. Saturn's going to join them soon. So this is about control that we're seeing in our world, control of our movements now, tracking devices, possibly mandatory vaccinations, all of this. These are going to be issues that are coming up that might incite anger, rage. The racism issue obviously is on the table. But we've got to come to this, not to ignore the anger, but to use it as a tool for constructive action forward. So, the world seems to be gradually opening up. Greece now officially, yesterday, opened its borders. Flights from, I think, 20 different countries have been allowed in. I have to say, I'm feeling a little uneasy about that. It seems that all of a sudden, you know, we've had 3 months of care and lockdown, and now suddenly, woof, The borders are open, tourism is open. Come on in, guys. Has the virus gone away? Are people going to be responsible? Are we going to care for one another? A woman came back to Greece. She's been in England and she didn't obey the quarantine laws and had a couple of parties. And after those parties, I think about 60 odd people were infected so far. I mean, she had a €5,000 fine, but the money is not the issue. It's the fact that it's this considering others for something that's invisible, that we can't see, that we've not yet experienced. Not easy. And I find it difficult because I find my guard dropping. You know, I'm living with my friends here. Sometimes they come really close to me and I'm conscious of needing to remember to keep the distance until we have some more information. Thank you, David. Teddy says thank you too. So, in the UK, Jupiter-Pluto, right? Jupiter-Pluto together, this is things going to extremes. And the shops have just opened. And I've just seen a couple of clips. And the queues for getting into Primark and the different stores are unbelievable. So now the non-necessary places are opening up. And everybody wants to get back into them, it would seem, or a lot of people want to. So, again, what are we going back to? And why are we going back to it? And do we have a different mindset now, a new perspective? Because this coronavirus is for sure not going away, or something else doesn't go away, something else comes to wake us up. Mother Nature's going to keep waking us up until we get the message that we've got to change profoundly on very deep levels. 2001 is a landmark because that's the last time we had those eclipses that are coming up now in the next 2-3 weeks. So what do we want to be different this time? Are we going to go back to the same old, same old? What do you want to be different in your life? These are the things to think about. What do I want to be different? Thank you very much, Michelle. Thank you. I want to have much more of a feeling of family with every single person I meet. And I want to train myself to feel a connection with every person. What can I see in every person? Could I just say a little prayer for somebody I pass and wish them good things into their life? Because we're all connected, and when you put out these vibes, well, there we are. Patricia, I love that. You kissed your ex-husband yesterday and he came over and fixed your oven. Don't let the government know. Yep, these are going to be things. These are going to be things that... So what do you want to have changed before we get other messages and other warnings? And I'm not saying something terrible is going to happen. I think we can avert it with some different intentions. I do think we can. But I do feel that we have to desire a different future from what we've had. And I think that that's communal. I think you would agree that you want something different. But if we're going to go back to the old habit patterns without questioning why we're doing things, then I think there's going to be more wake-up calls from nature, not necessarily the virus. And I think we can get into a lot of things around COVID-19 about what's true, what's not true, and we can go woo, down in the energy. So I don't want to go into that valley. I want to go up the mountain like the goat does with Capricorn. I want to go upwards through the difficulties, not ignoring, but if we can tune into one another. And being a musician, you know, tuning a violin, when you're in tune, the sound of the music carries much further than when you're out of tune. So if we can really come together and be more in tune with each other, then I think the sky's our limit. I mean, somebody sent me this beautiful link about an African tribe, and that when somebody does something wrong in the village, they take him to the center of the village and they surround him and they tell him about all the good things that he did, he or she, because they believe that everybody makes a mistake from time to time, and that a mistake is a cry for help or attention. And that if a person is reminded of their innate goodness and connectedness, they'll come back into their own alignment and they won't do things wrong again. Isn't that a beautiful way of coming together? To me, that's very Cancerian. That's very Cancerian eclipse. And also in Kabbalah, in the Jewish Kabbalah, that too, you are always encouraged, if I remember rightly, don't quote me on this, but you are encouraged to find at least 3 things that are positive about every person that you interact with. It might be their voice, it might be their smile, but that you just find it and you work at it. And with Mercury retrograde, this is now about working at how could I nurture every person I meet in one way or another. It was very difficult recently. My dearest friend had a big surgery in the hospital, and I couldn't go and see her because of COVID. I mean, it was hard enough for her husband to be there. The hospital wanted to throw him out. And he said, look, he said, I'm sleeping and staying with my wife. And you can call the police, but I'm not moving. And he stayed, and they let him stay. And, you know, he sat on a chair. There was no bed, there was no shower, nothing for him. But he's so devoted to her. But I couldn't go, and it was very painful. And I thought, how can I nurture her? What can I do? And I still don't want to go over there yet because she's very vulnerable and still in a lot of pain. So I painted her a picture. I got her a soft new teddy. And I wrote something to her. Just whatever I could do that's nurturing. She's a Cancerian as well. So think about 3 things that you could do to nurture and to develop that nurturing muscle. Yeah? Because when you practice something, it becomes a part of you. Now doing my gratitudes every single morning and during the day, it's a part of me. It's easy now. But at the beginning, it was hard. And there's a tendency to take things for granted. I know I've got to keep building that muscle. And talking of gratitude, I'm really so grateful to have you here online with me. My heart is opening. Like the rose, like the flowers. There's been a lot of flowers in the chat today. And there has to be the balance between nurturing others and nurturing yourself. Absolutely. It's a good point many of you have been making. So, I think I'd just like to say thank you. First of all to Lucy. Thank you to you who are making such beautiful comments. Thank you to you who like the video. And thank you, when you like the video, it enables more people to come online live with us and it empowers what's happening. Yeah? When many come together in my name. I can't remember the exact words, maybe somebody will quote it here in the live chat. Let's get it right. But there is much power in that. So, what I'd like to suggest is that we set an intention for these eclipses. We set an intention that we want to create a loving family on planet Earth, and that nobody will be left out. Nobody will be ostracized. Nobody will be kept out. Everybody is included. Even the people you don't like very much. Even the people whose behavior you don't admire. But that you can see that every person, like that African tribe, whoever's done something wrong, you just get him in touch or her in touch with her innate goodness. And I do believe we all have that somewhere inside. And certainly you guys online with me, I think it's much easier for you. Thank you. Thank you, Patricia. Wherever two or more of you are gathered in my name, there is love. Thank you. Whew, that's beautiful, thank you. So I think there's the question to how can I get in tune? How can we get in tune with one another? How can we sing a song of harmony? Peace and harmony and love. All these words that we love. But we've got to start building some muscles and practicing it. Because we haven't practiced it very much. The more you practice something, it's like scales, it's like the piano. When I used to have to practice 6 or 8 hours a day when I was a concert pianist in those times, if I stopped practicing for a length of time, I would lose it. I'd lose that dexterity, I'd lose that extra magic. So let's start practicing the things that we want to create. And the things I feel we want to create are safety upon this planet Earth, feeling that you're safe wherever you are. Wow, wouldn't that be wonderful? Right now we're worrying about EMFs, frequencies, transmitters, what are they doing, chemtrails. Yeah, there's all this fear. How can we relax and be healthy and well in a world like that? So this is what I'm praying for, a prayer and intention to bring safety upon this planet Earth, to bring love upon this planet Earth, nurturing, and that everybody feels as though they're part of the same family. I welcome you into my family. Thank you for being my family. I hope you feel uplifted from these videos. Lucy is doing such a wonderful job at creating this community here online with you. Organically, things begin to move at this time. Follow the organics of what's happening in your life. You may find somebody, thank you very much, Elif, thank you. You may find you reach out to somebody you love, somebody from your past, somebody you've not spoken to in a long time. See if you can reach out to 3 or 4 people this next month or so. See if you can just reach out with a loving touch. Not looking for anything in return. Not looking for a response even. And you can do it physically, you could do it psychically. Let's say it's somebody who's no longer talking to you, or it could be somebody who's passed on. You can still do it psychically. And it will bring a nurturing to you. It will bring a soothing to you. It will do something to your frequency. And as you feel soothed and part of this family, because I want you to feel this safety here. There's a safety here. nobody's going to say something that's hurtful and down-putting and criticising, derogatory. That what we're doing here is to uplift one another onto that higher frequency. So that's my heart, that's my desire here. And that we look at all these things that are happening where can we change the world so that the focus is always about looking at the nice things people are doing for one another. Our news everywhere that we are being, brainwashed with, some of it, is always about the awful things that are happening on planet Earth, much more than the nice things. And so I'd love to close really with just a story from my lovely 98-year-old auntie who went on her first outing for 3 months. Her son David said, "You know what, Mum, put on a mask and some sunglasses. I'm going to take you out to the park and we'll have a look at the garden centre." So they got there very late when it was closing, because that hopefully would be less people there. And she was just admiring the hanging baskets. And he was just about to close, and she said, "It's all right," she said, "I don't want to buy anything. I just wanted to come and look because I've not been out in 3 months." And he said, 3 months? She said, "Yes." He said, "Well, you know what?" He said, "I want to give you this hanging basket. It's a present." Well, she was so thrilled. She said, "I've been on cloud 9. She said it was £27.50. That's about $30 odd. She said, "Nothing like that has ever happened to me in my life before." And she said, "And I was on my way out." And he said, "You know what, that pot that you've been admiring with flowers," he said, "I want you to have that as well." She said, couldn't believe it. The joy, the pleasure that she got from this man in his little garden shop, giving her a hanging basket and a pot filled with flowers. She's just beaming with joy. She looks at those flowers out of her window. And that was, and even just sharing with this, I hope this puts a smile on your face. Yeah? What a beautiful gesture. So let's creatively think of the beautiful gestures that you're seeing, maybe, that you're seeing people doing, or sharing and sharing them, or coming up with your own creative, beautiful gestures that you then share. Yeah, let's start a club of the wonderful gestures and things that we can just do to brighten up someone's day. And it can be something very simple. It doesn't have to be something complicated. But it takes creativity. And I think Cancer is a very creative sign. And I think it's a wonderful time to really put the spark plugs on your creative muscles. Thank you very much, Ileana. Thank you. So I really just want to say thank you to Lucy for everything you've facilitated tonight, and thank you for being my assistant and taking on more and more things. I'm very, very grateful for that. And I'm going to say, trust your instincts. Trust what you're feeling. And try out some of the things that have been suggested here. I'd love to hear your feedback. On Thursday, I'm hoping to do another video with Pam. We'll be doing a Q&A with the Pleiadians. And we've had many of your questions, so I'm very excited to bring that to you, hopefully later this week. So much, much, much love to you. May you be safe. May you feel nurtured. And from all of us to all of you in my dear, dear family, I send you much, much love. We send you love. Bye for now. Thank you.